Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video, and today we're going to be talking about every movie I watched this week, or last week, I guess, and this was an interesting week. This is one of the least watches I've had throughout a week this year. I think this might be literally like the lowest number of watches in a week, but there's kind of a reason for that. I still managed to keep my streak alive of watching a movie every single day this year, which is quite surprising considering I was away this weekend for my best friend's wedding and I was the best man, so that was really awesome. And that was a great time, obviously. I was able to squeeze in finishing two really short movies yesterday and the day before. Actually, 2 days ago and the day before, sorry. But yeah, anyways, let's go. Here's the list. So, starting it off with a despicable fucking movie of superhero movie, an absolute atrocity, but I'm not gonna lie, it did make me laugh a few times, but if this isn't one of the worst things you've ever watched, that's just wrong. It is absolutely one of the worst things you could possibly watch. It was absolutely terrible. Ranked it a 15 out of 100. I think it was kind of funny, the knockoff of the all the superheroes, I guess, and villains and whatnot, and the basically same story from the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But my God, what a fucking shit show of a movie. It's just brutal. And I mean, it's basically just a satire on comic book movies, but it was really fucking bad. So yeah, don't waste your time with this one. It was thankfully only like 70 minutes or 80 minutes. So that's the only reason why I watched it, just because of how short it was, and I knew I'd have time to watch that one. But yeah, just fucking brutal. So with that being said, we'll move on to This Is the End, a big jump up 50 points to a 65 out of 100. I did enjoy this for the most part. Most of the comedy didn't really hit, but there definitely was some giggles in there, and overall I enjoyed this more than I didn't. And there was just cameo after cameo in this movie. It was really odd seeing so many just absolutely famous people in this movie. It was really wild. I had no idea, to be honest. I do remember seeing clips of this movie. I'm pretty sure I'd seen this movie a long time ago with a friend, and I remembered clips of the movie, but I didn't really remember how it turned out. Anyways, it was interesting, and it did keep my interest for most of the movie, so it was a decent movie. Like I said, a 65 out of 100. But let's keep going on to my least favorite Hayao Miyazaki movie, which is Porco Rosso. Well, it's my least favorite so far. I believe I've only watched 4 Hayao Miyazaki. I think it's Hayao Miyazaki movies, and yeah, this is definitely my least favorite so far, but it's still just an absolute beautiful watch. He just makes truly great pieces of animation that are really great to look at, and although this one was still interesting, it just didn't hit as much as some of the other ones that I've watched so far, such as, I believe, Ponyo, My Neighbor Totoro, and what else did I watch? I don't remember. Anyways, like I said, this is just so far my least favorite of the Miyazaki films that I've watched, so what can you do, right? Let's keep going, and let's move on to Oblivion. And Joseph Kosinski is quickly becoming one of my favorite directors because I love Top Gun Maverick, I love Tron Legacy, Spiderhead was okay, and this movie Oblivion was okay, but Oblivion was fantastic to look at. It was a very visually pleasing movie. It was truly spectacular to look at, and I really enjoyed my time watching it. Although I didn't find the movie incredibly interesting, I really did love looking at it, and there was some beautiful cinematography and just special effects throughout this movie, and some great shots in this movie as well, and that was definitely the highlight for the movie in my opinion. There's a pretty good score in it too that I enjoyed. I remember that. So overall, I did enjoy the movie, but it wasn't anything too special. So let's keep moving on to a documentary that I finished today, kind of a documentary. It is Olivia Rodrigo's Driving Home to You, a sour film. And this one was pretty interesting. This was just one that I kind of watched with Mel. I watched about half of it with her, and then I just watched the rest of it by myself. This is my favorite album from a female artist. Still to this day, over the past few years, it's just been my favorite female artist. Olivia Rodrigo, sorry, has been my favorite female artist. And like I said, this is my favorite this is my favorite album from a female artist. Still, ever since it came out. This was the second album I got on vinyl as well, so that's pretty cool. A fun fact for you guys. And yeah, I love this album very, very much. Like I said, it is my favorite female album, and it's one of my favorite albums, truly. I really, really love this album, but I didn't really care for a lot of the performances on this little, like, documentary kind of concert style. It was still interesting to see Rodrigo performing in different aspects, but I do find that Olivia Rodrigo is a bit of a studio queen. I love her voice, and she has a magnificent voice in all of her songs, but I do find from what I've seen in live performances or in those kind of live settings that it's not as great as it is, on Apple Music or Spotify. So that's my personal opinion. Let me know if you guys feel the same way. I still love Rodrigo. Like I said, she's my favorite female artist. So, yeah, let's keep going, though, to Taxi Driver, which was a pretty interesting watch. This is my first Scorsese film that I've watched. This was a first-time watch for me. I ranked it an 80 out of 100, and I did enjoy this movie, and I thought it was a pretty interesting character study, but this one really wasn't anything like I expected it to be. I thought this was fully going to be about a serial killer, so that really surprised me. It was quite different, and it really went in a different direction, so that was kind of nice, but it just kind of surprised me. I kind of expected this to be a little bit better as well. Similarly to some of the previous movies over the past few weeks that I watched, I was really looking forward to watching. This wasn't my favorite movie by any means. I did expect it to be a little bit better, but with that being said, I mean, unfortunate, but I still ranked it an 80 out of 100, so it's not like I think it's bad by any means, but again, I do think I was slightly disappointed with this one, so that kind of sucks, but let's keep going. We'll move on to The Zone of Interest, which I also ranked an 80 out of 100. And this is a really, really grim movie. This was the second watch of the week for me, and this one was a really hard one to watch, especially because one of the opening scenes of the movie was two officers talking about how the construction of the Auschwitz Jew camps were being built, and that was a really grim scene. This is not a movie for the faint of heart, and this was a tough watch to get through because it's obviously very real and it's very sad. So if that doesn't interest you, definitely don't watch it, but I've heard great things about this movie, and that's why I wanted to watch it. And yeah, up next for me is probably Anatomy of a Fall, but it's a long movie, so I really want to make sure I can get some time to watch it, so that's just on the sidelines for now. But let's keep going up to The Usual Suspects, and I quite like Bryan Singer's movies. Obviously, he's dabbled in comic book movies quite a decent amount, so it was cool to see him in a different spin, but I could kind of still see his directing style in this movie, even though this was very early on in his career. But this was a great watch. I really enjoyed the twist at the end, and I put it together right as it was happening. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. I ranked it an 81 out of 100, and I thought it was great. And I said in my review, I need more Chaz Palminteri because Palminteri, sorry. Because I loved him in Mob of the Dead. If you know, you know. Black Ops 2 Zombies. It's my favorite Zombies map, and that was my favorite, that was my favorite Zombies map for a long time, and he was one of my favorite characters. I loved that map. I love the Easter egg, so if you know, you know. But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this movie, and like I said, it was nice to see Bryan Singer dabbling in a little bit of a different genre, because he's mostly in that action sci-fi nowadays, so, or not necessarily nowadays, but kind of like 10 years ago, I guess. But with that being said, we'll move on to, I believe, my top three. So at number 3, we have Moneyball, which I ranked a 92 out of 100. This is a second time watch for me. It's been a few years since I last watched this movie, but I really did enjoy myself with it once again. And I truly think this is a great sports story, and it's one that's really hard to believe. And I believe I actually raised the ranking for this movie. I think I had it at an 89 out of 100, and it's now a 92 out of 100. So definitely enjoyed it more this time around, and I truly think that this could just keep going up. And obviously, you can read my review, but I would lose my mind if I was up 11-0 to get the game tied, and I went to that game after it being 11-0, being super superstitious about never going or never watching the games, and then I go to the game, we're up 11-0, then it's tied 11-11. I would lose my fucking mind, especially on the biggest win streak in history. Yeah, I couldn't imagine going through that anxiety. That as a viewer, as a watcher, that anxiety is crazy. Couldn't imagine living that. So, with that being said, we'll move on to another anxiety-inducing movie. A first-time watch for me. I watched 2 foreign films this week. I didn't even realize it, but Train to Busan was, or has become probably my favorite foreign film, if not My Neighbor Totoro, from the ones that I've seen so far. Both of them ranked 98, funnily enough, but this was incredible. I loved just about everything from this movie. It was fantastic. It was claustrophobic. It made you feel anxious. It made you love and hate characters. It made you scared, and I loved the characters' decisions in this movie. A lot of them made sense. A lot of them were good because it made you love and hate characters, and a lot of them were really annoying because it made you love and hate characters. So this was definitely some of the best characters in a zombies film as well, and without a doubt the best zombies movie that I've seen. So this was really great, and this is definitely one I want to rewatch later this year because this was absolutely incredible, and I really, really loved this movie. So that's number 2 of the week. We'll move on to number 1 of the week, and it's my favorite from 2023, and it might be my favorite movie ever. I'm still not sure, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And what can I say about this movie that I haven't already said? I think absolutely everything is perfect in this movie. My favorite scene, I think, in cinema is the start of the canon event explanation to the end of the Nueva York train chase. I cannot get enough of this movie. I cannot get enough of the third act of this movie. I cannot get enough of the score from Daniel Pemberton. This is like my 10th or 11th time watching this movie since it came out less than a year ago. And literally all I wrote for my review this time was I just need to watch this every day, which is true because I love this movie so fucking much. And I literally watched it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.